Okay, so the last class we were discussing about the filter banks, so which will be used to improve the receiver bandwidth, and also it can be improve the signal to noise ratio. So this after this RF, that is IF amplifier, which is conversion from RF to IF in simple continuous wave radar. So if you put the filter banks, so then this filter banks, so as I said, so it will improve the receiver bandwidth. So because of this receiver bandwidth, so the signal to noise ratio also it improves. Okay, so now this each individual filter, so it will be having a bandwidth which is enough to accept the signal energy, whatever echo signal which is coming. So each individual filter having sufficient bandwidth to accept this energy, and the center frequencies of these filters are staggered to cover entire the Doppler frequencies. That means, so they are placing side by side, so the center frequency you can see, so they are putting in such a way that, so that 3 dB bandwidth of this complete filter, so it will be cover the wide range of the Doppler frequencies which is detected. Okay, so now if you use the more filters, the probability of loss will be the less. Okay, so there is no maximum loss which will occur, but the probability of false detection will be high, because so whenever you put the filter narrow band filters side by side and cover the range of frequency, so even maybe the threshold level which may lies after the that bandwidth of the narrow band filter. So that's why, so we cannot able to greater the probability of detection, but even the target echo signal, if the threshold level it is not properly within the bandwidth of the filter, then this probability of false alarm will be high. Okay, so and the narrow band filters maybe even you can use after the detector in the video of the sample, that is whatever we have the PPI indicator, that is video amplifier or video device. So even you can put after that these filter banks, and you can use. So instead of putting here, that is after IF you can, you are putting the filter banks, but even after the video amplifier which is there before the indicator, so there also you can put after video filter, and you can able to get the detection of the target. Okay, so now to improve the signal to noise ratio with video filter bank, so this actually we have put the filter banks after the IF filter, right? So even it is not good which we put the filter banks for improving the noise signal to noise ratio with video filter bank. Why? Because so even if you put the video filter banks, so after video filter banks the probability of false alarm will increase. So that's why it is not good, but still we can preserve the Doppler frequency. We can preserve the Doppler frequency, but still the probability of the false alarm will be increased. So now because of the fold over in the sense, whatever you have the transmitted frequency or reference frequency, the Doppler frequencies will be, so both sides it will be the like a side bands, it will be get uh, it will be get collected, and in the frequency spectrum it will be both sides with respect to reference frequency it will be there. So because of this fold over, so generally if you seen the sampling theorem, so if you have a Nyquist rate, okay, so it will be the sampling frequency will be the two times of the highest frequency in the message signal. So that if you take the highest frequency of the sample, which is half of the Nyquist frequency, then this fold over occurs, or we can call that Nyquist frequency as fold over frequency. So that's why, so because of that fold over, both the Doppler frequencies which will be detected from the target, it will be both sides of the reference frequency. So because of this fold over occurs, the sign of the Doppler shift, whether it is plus or minus, and that means the target is approaching the receiver or it is uh, going away from the receiver. So that sign, whatever we get from the echo signal, that will be lost with the video filter bank because of this fold over. But it can be directly determine whether it is approaching or receding by taking the echo signal properly, the frequency along with the phase and amplitude, we can able to detect whether it is approaching or receding. So that we can put it to some whatever the motor, whatever mm, the echo signal amplitude, phase, and the Doppler frequency, the all the parameter we can extract and we can give it to the motor. So whatever motor rotates, whether it is based on the phase, so whether it is rotating clockwise or anti-clockwise, then we can able to get whether the target is going away from the receiver or it is approaching the receiver. So now one of the advantage of this fold over is in the video, so it will be having only half of the number of filters are required than the IF filter banks, because it is uh, with reference to reference frequency, both sides it will be there. So that's why only you can require half of the filters, you can get the echo signal. So the moving targets are to be distinguished from the stationary targets by removing the zero Doppler frequency component. So there is no change in the Doppler frequency, that component you can remove, because stationary means there is no change in the frequency. Only whenever the target is moving, due to the path variation, the frequency will going to change. So that frequency change we can able to detect it is a moving target. Stationary targets means there is no frequency change, so that whatever there is no change in the frequency component, that component we can remove, so that will represent the stationary objects. So now even because of the environmental effects, the clutters also it is there, like the raindrops or fog or mist, whatever in the environmental effects, so that clutter also we need to reject by using these filters. Okay, so that clutter rejection band of this Doppler filter, so this must be wide enough to accommodate the spread. So whatever the frequency Doppler spread we have detected, so that within that range of the frequency band, it is wide enough to reject that clutters, and also it should extract the proper echo Doppler frequency. So because of this, in the multiple filter bank, so removal of those filters in the vicinity of the RF or IF carrier removes the stationary target signal. So because of the these multiple filter banks which we used, so either even in the RF or IF, after the conversion from RF to IF, or even before the IF itself, we can remove the noise. So because of this stationary targets, the noise will be created. So by identifying the zero component of this frequency component of these stationary targets before IF, we can remove, or after IF also can remove. So now we can see here, so this is a reference frequency, we can see this is f0 plus fd and this is f0 minus fd. So whatever Doppler frequency component which we detected here, so this will tell us whether it is a stationary target or it is a moving target. So now you see, you can see here, so the reference frequency f0 is there, and similarly there is no change in the frequency of the target, so then we can tell that that is a stationary target. So now if there is any frequency change with respect to reference frequency, so the Doppler frequency, whether it is plus or minus, then we can tell that whether it is approaching or it is receding. So now if it is f0 plus fd, that is the Doppler frequency, whatever echo frequency which we receive, if it is greater than the reference frequency, that is f0 plus fd, then the target is approaching, and if it is less than, that is f0 minus fd, the target is receding, that is it is going away from the receiver. Okay, so this is what how we can able to detect the target, whether it is moving or that is whether it is approaching or receding. So now if you can see the whatever transmitted signal in terms of this, so amplitude and the frequency, so this is a frequency whatever omega naught which we have shown here in terms of the frequency hertz, and this is angular frequency omega naught. So now the received echo signal which is having the Doppler shift as well as the phase of the signal, so that we have represented here, and this amplitude it may so degraded, so that the amplitude will be degraded, so that we can represent it as k1 into a naught. Okay, so this is a received echo signal, so this is a transmitted signal. So now we can compare these two signal and we can get the what is the Doppler frequency, and also whether it is moving, the target is moving to the receiver, near to the receiver, or it is going away from the receiver. So the sign of omega d and the direction of target's motion may be determined according to whether the output channel B leads or lags the output of channel A. So now we can see here, so we can take the reference signal, that is whatever we transmit signal uh, from the transmitter. So this signal we can give it to one channel, so that is a reference signal, and with the phase of 90 degree we can give it to another signal. So now whatever the receiving echo, so we'll split into both the channels. So now with compare with this two reference signal, we can tell that whether it is we can connect these two channels to a motor, and we can get the phase of these two channels, and if it is the phase is lagging or leading, based on that we can the motor will rotate in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. So based on that we can able to tell the, if it is, if you assume the clockwise direction, it is moving away from the target, so in the anti-clockwise direction it will so approaching the target. So that will be the one of the way we can measure the Doppler direction, so using this motor. So you can see here, so with along with the Doppler frequency and whatever the phase, so we have added additionally 90-degree phase, so with this phase shifter, and we can compare the two signals in channel A and channel B, so whether it is the phase is leading or lagging. So based on that phase is leading or lagging, so then we can able to detect whether the target is approaching or receding from the receiver. So now this Doppler frequency shift, which we have known already the expression, so that is with respect to the relative phase velocity, relative velocity, so which will given by 2Vr into F naught by C, so where F naught is the transmitted frequency. So now by using this expression we can get the Doppler frequency. So now in order to get the correct value of the frequency, so with respect to target relative velocity, whether it is moving away or moving near to the receiver, so we can express that in terms of this velocity, that is the relative phase velocity, given by this expression. So now the phase shift associated with the return signal, whatever echo signal which is given, so that echo signal which will be given by this one, that is 4 pi f r naught by c into 1 minus p by c. So where r naught is the range at time t equal to 0. So now whenever time changes, so with respect to that time changes, the range will be it will be determined, and it will be changed, because so the target, if it is moving, obviously the Doppler changes based on that. So the range of the target, whether it is increasing or decreasing based on the target movement, so that it will going to change. Initially at time t equal to 0 we can define it as r naught. So based on this r naught plus some whatever the value of the range, which will be, can take it as constant value, some k or whatever it is, that k it will be either minus or plus based on the target movement which is approaching the radar receiver or it is going away from the receiver. So this is about the how we can able to detect the target movement with respect to Doppler frequency whenever you transmit the signal in the continuous form. So this is about the simple continuous wave radar, how we can able to detect the, the target movement from the radar receiver, whether it is receding or it is approaching. So now coming to the applications of this continuous wave radar. So you might have already seen that radars may be used in military applications, or it may be used in general weather applications, or the aircraft applications. So these are the some of the simple that is applications of the simple continuous wave radar. So generally, if you have normal in day-to-day life applications, so if you have seen the toll booths and all, they will use the RFID tags. Instead of, they can directly use how many vehicles which are going, and the counter can be set and we can detect the number of vehicles which is going along the toll booth. That is also one of the application. And also it will be so simple, the moving target, where we can detect some person inside the building. So simply we can see the relative motion of the person which is moving inside the building. That based on that moving, we can measure the range of the person which is inside the building, and also where exactly he is moving. So one of the any target, if you take a moving target, we can measure the relative velocity. So that we have seen equation. So by using this equation, so we can estimate the relative velocity of any moving target, whether it is any bird or whatever person, whatever it is. So that is one of the application. And the rate of climb meter for vertical takeoff aircraft. That means, so whenever you with respect to the reference to the ground, so the height of the aircraft which is taking off, so that also we can measure. So because the target is moving, with respect to moving target, we can calculate the Doppler shift or relative velocity. Based on that, we can tell that whether the aircraft is, what is the, at which rate it is going to so take off. And also even when the landing is happening, so that proper landing also we can able to detect aircraft landing system. In that also, this continuous wave radar, it will be helpful. Sensor in anti-lock braking system. So in many vehicles these anti-lock braking systems are there. So this radar we can incorporate as a sensor to uh, in this system to detect proper braking facility. And also collision avoidance. So in day-to-day traffic life, so collision avoidance also we can able to detect. So we can detect the moving target before it is approaching to the vehicle. Before that collision happens, before that collision we can avoid by detecting that target. And also the track maintenance of personal advance warning of approaching trains. So even the train, whatever it is approaching or it is going away, so whenever the track maintenance is happening, so if the at the same time if the train is coming, so we can give the traffic signal according to that. So then we can able to control the train, so which is approaching to the track maintenance area. And also measurement of velocity of missiles. So whatever missiles which we use, so the velocity of missile we can the able to, because missile also it is one of the type of the moving target, right? So even if we treat it as the missile, it is a target, then we can able to detect that what is the velocity of that missile and how it will going to affect the whatever the environment. So we can able to assess that the missile velocity also. So now the principal advantage of this continuous wave Doppler radar is measuring the speed of the object without any physical contact of the object. So because, so without any physical contact, so directly just we will transmit the signal based on the reflection or echo signal. So we are detecting that the speed of this target or object. So that is the actual very good advantage of that. So with respect to this, so many applications which are there. So measurement of turbine blade vibration. So in many mechanical systems, so these turbines they are moving with a particular velocity, and we can estimate what is the turbine blade vibration and what is the velocity of it is rotating, rotations per minute. So all those things we can able to estimate using this continuous wave radar. And the peripheral speed of grinding wheels. So this is also we can measure what is the velocity and also what is the speed of that. And the monitoring of vibrations in the cable of suspension bridge. So bridges we have seen already, the suspended bridges many places are there. So the cables which are connecting, or the whatever the uh, the connecting wires or connecting cables in terms of the either it may be like some iron, whatever the cables which are placed on the bridges. So how much vibrations it will happen, so based on that vibrations, so we can estimate whether the bridge is sustainable or it is it is having any some problem or not, like that. Okay, so these are the some of the applications of the continuous wave radar. So now this continuous wave radar, so when used for means like range, whatever range which we need to define, whether it is a short range or moderate range, so that will be characterized by a simple equipment, so than a pulse radar. So this continuous wave, anyhow we have seen the pulse radar, again it is in the pulse form and it is in a simple form. So the continuous wave also, so instead of pulsed method they are using continuously transmission. This is also simpler equipment so than a pulse radar, so only for the short and moderate ranges. So if you go on putting the large range, so then we can use some other method, because whenever you transmit the signal, so how much distance it will go. So just if you speak the with respect to speech signal, so it may reach around maybe maximum 50 meter or something like that. If you go on increasing the power of the transmitted signal, then the range will going to increase. Since it is a continuous wave signal and there is no any unmodulation, it is there, so there is no modulation like AM or FM which we have used in the continuous wave radar. So because of that, it will not reach the long range, so only the range which is limited here. So only the possibilities, if you go on increasing the power of the transmitted signal, then it will go on increasing the range. So that's why, see, the one of the disadvantages also, it is that the it cannot be transmit the signal to a more the range, that is the larger ranges. So the amount of power that can be used with a continuous wave radar is dependent on the isolation that can be achieved between transmitter and receiver. Because even if you go on increasing, the another problem exists between, which is isolation. So if you go on increasing the power of the signal or transmitted signal, so that will if you go on increasing the transmitter power, so the leakage which will happen, it will affect the receiver. So if you are reducing the transmitter power, range cannot be achieved, but the noise will be reduced at the receiver. But if you go on increasing the power, so then that power it will going to leak as a noise into the receiver, then isolation problem it will come between transmitter and receiver. So you need to compromise here either the range or the power, so in the continuous wave radar. So the disadvantage of this, it is inability to obtain the measurement of range. That is what, whenever you have the range and isolation between transmitter and receiver, so you have to compromise between those two, and we have to get the target detection. So now how to overcome this limitation? So now the overcoming this limitation of continuous wave radar, so by modulating the continuous wave carrier, that is whatever continuous wave the wave which will going to transmit, if you modulate and if you transmit that signal, then it will go as a long range. That we have already seen the modulation, uh, AM modulation, FM modulation and all, it will increase the range of the radar. So you can see here one of the method which we can use for improving the range is frequency modulated radar. So we can use the modulation as a frequency modulation, and we can use that frequency modulated wave, continuous wave with the carrier wave, and we can transmit that signal and we can achieve the good range. Okay, so now we'll see what is the frequency modulated continuous wave radar and how it can be operated. So now whatever we have seen the inability or the disadvantage of the simple wave continuous wave radar, so the measurement of range is limited here and relatively very narrow spectrum. The bandwidth which is there for the transmitter waveform which is very less. So that will be sought out in this frequency modulated continuous wave radar. So now how we can able to detect? So we just mark some timing mark so to the continuous wave carrier if the range is measured. So if the proper range we need to measure, so some timing mark will be applied to a carrier, so which we'll going to use. So then with respect to that timing mark, so then we can so get the proper echo signal with respect to the reference transmitted signal. So the timing mark permits the time of transmission and the time of return to be recognized. So with respect to the timing mark, so the transmission, whatever the transmitted signal, modulated signal, and whatever the received signal, so we can compare with respect to the timing mark and we can able to measure it. So this, the sharper or more distinct the mark, the more accurate measurement of the transit time. So the transit time, whatever we, the time which is required for transmitting signal and receiving the echo signal, that transit time, the measurement of that transit time will be more accurate if the sharper and whatever the marker we put the timing mark, if it is more proper. So now the finite spectrum must be necessity to be transmitted if transit time or range is to be measured. So the spectrum must be so necessary, so finite spectrum, so to measure this transit time and range. So now the spectrum of continuous wave transmission can be broadened by application of modulation, either amplitude, frequency or phase. So in the simple continuous wave radar, the bandwidth is limited. So now which can be broadened by using the modulation technique. So now as an example of amplitude modulation we can use in the pulse radar. So whatever rectangular pulse with on and off timing, so we can use the amplitude modulation and we can achieve in the pulse radar. So the narrower the pulse in the transmitting signal, so the more accurate measurement of range and the spectrum will be broadened. Okay, so if you use the amplitude modulation in the pulse radar, so we can get the accurate measurement of the range. So now to, in the continuous wave radar, to widen the spectrum or bandwidth, so we use the uh, frequency modulation, and based on this frequency modulation we can widen the bandwidth or spectrum. So the transit time whatever we measured, which will be proportional to the difference in frequency between echo signal and transmitted signal. So whatever we receive echo signal, the frequency uh, and the transmitted signal, whatever reference signal, so the transit time generally it is proportional, because whatever the time which will taken from transmitted signal to the target and the target which will reflect back, so the time which will be directly proportional to the frequency shift which is happening between transmitted and received signal. So because of the pathway difference, the frequency difference it will come between transmitter and receiver, so that will be directly proportional to this transit time. So now this, the greater the transmitter frequency deviation in a given time interval. So transmitter frequency deviation means whatever you transmit the FM modulated wave, so that will be having frequency deviation with respect to carrier, how much deviation it will happen. So that if it is greater in a given time interval, then there is a more accurate measurement of the transit time, because based on that frequency deviation we can estimate what is the actual transit time which is taken from the uh, transmitted signal and whatever received echo signal, and which will in turn it will greater advantage for the transmitted spectrum. Now you can see here, so this is directly whatever uh, without any modulation, so directly we can transmit that the linearly we can going to transmit the signal. So that is linear frequency modulation. So just there the frequency which will with respect to time, so the modulation it is continuously modulated signal it is going. So here it is a different, so with respect to triangular frequency modulation, that is uh, which we can use the frequency of the wave which is triangular frequency, triangular wave to modulate. Okay, so this is the different types of methods we can use. Either you can use, instead of triangular you can use sawtooth, or you can use any other like sine wave also you can use. So based on the application requirement, the modulation, so we can use differently. Okay, So now how we can able to measure the range and Doppler frequency measurement in this frequency modulated continuous wave radar. So now the transmitter frequency is changed as a function of known manner. That means whichever the known parameter it is there. So if it is changed with respect to the transmitter frequency is changed with respect to function of time in a known manner, that is, say for example it is linearly it is varying, so then we can able to estimate the range and Doppler frequency easily. But the problem is here in the linearly varying, the device which we use to modulate and demodulate, that will be operate in the linear region. Otherwise, so if it is goes to little bit non-linear region, then the range and Doppler problems will occur. So that is a problem. So that you need to take care when you are operating as a linear region. So now assume that transmitter frequency increases linearly with the time. So we can see here this figure. So now if there is a reflecting object at a distance r, an echo signal will return after a time t equal to 2r by c. So that we have already known. So this is a transmitted signal and this is dashed the dotted signal which is a echo signal, and both are varying with respect to that time which is linear variation. So now based on this the transit time, so we can get the range of the target. Now if the echo signal is heterodyned with a portion of transmitted signal in a nonlinear element such as diode, a beat note FB frequency will be produced. So whenever so if the transmitted signal, whatever the reference signal which we call it as, so that will be given to the receiver side for the reference frequency. Based on that reference frequency, after demodulation using the non-linear element diode, so which we use to generally for demodulation. So now the beat frequency, that is whatever the detected frequency in the echo signal, so that will be within the range of audio frequency. So that's why even generally we can able to hear by using the earphone, or we can display that using the plane position indicator. So that will be going to produced. So now after this it will going to produce that beat frequency with respect to this the modulation which is happening. So this we can see here at particular time, so these beat frequencies are going to generate. Okay, so that will be compared with the transmitted signal, and we can note the frequency of the that echo signal. So now that reference frequency or whatever the beat frequency which is generated, so with respect to that the range can be also defined, that is the range can be also extracted. So now if there is no Doppler frequency shift, so the beat note is a measure of the target's range. So that means if there is no frequency Doppler frequency shift, we can able to measure what is the range of the target which is situated. And if FB equal to FR, that is the reference frequency and beat frequency both are equal, so where FR is the uh, actually FB, this is FB is the beat frequency due to only the target's range. So if these two are equal, so this beat frequency is generated due to only the target. Otherwise if it is not equal, it is not from the target, it may change. It may be like other moving targets, or it may be due to other environmental or any other uh, things. And if the rate of change of carrier frequency is f naught, so this is the rate of change of carrier frequency. Now the beat frequency can be calculated, so that is if it is equal, then this FB equal to FR we can calculate, that FR will be given by this one. Okay, so now if you come to the practical scenario, the frequency cannot be continually changing in only one direction, because the moving target is not particularly going in only one direction, it will change the direction also. So because of that, so the periodicity of modulation is necessary. So that we need to take care in the modulation technique, and as in the triangular frequency modulation waveform. So this you can see here that periodicity of the modulation also, it will be required whenever it is the target is changing its direction. So that is also in the practical scenario, because generally in the radar we assume that the target is in one particular direction, we transmit the signal from antenna with a particular beam width, and within that beam width we can able to detect and we can get back the echo signal. But in practical scenarios it is not the case, because the direction of the target, moving target, uh, it will be different, and we need to take care the periodicity of modulation. So now if the frequency is modulated at a rate of fm, so over a range of the frequency deviation delta f, so now the beat frequency we can define by using this equation. So this is a message, whatever message frequency or modulating frequency with the frequency deviation of delta f, and with the carrier frequency f naught. So now we can detect the frequency deviation and as well as the beat frequency, so we can get from these equations. So now this is actually FMCW radar. So the block diagram. So first we have the transmitting signal, which is modulated by frequency modulation, and it will going to transmit. So the reference signal, which is from the FM transmitter, which is giving to the receiver side also. So now with respect to this reference signal, so the received echo signal will be compared with this reference signal, and we can detect it. So this we can see here. So the mixer, it will convert from whatever received echo signal to the intermediate signal, and the amplifier will going to amplify, and the limiter, so it will the function here, it will going to so get the proper echo signal after amplifier. And this frequency counter, which is reference to the timing mark which we discussed, based on the timing mark, this frequency counter which will be so going to indicate whether it is the target, the range is properly detected or not, and this frequency counter which is going to increase or decrease based on the target. So the portion of the transmitted signal, so it is acts as a reference signal here, so which is required to produce the beat frequency, because with respect to this reference signal the beat frequency is produced. So now this is introduced directly to the receiver, so via cable or other direct connection. You can use any piece of transmission line to connect here, or cable to connect directly to from the transmitter to receiver. Okay. So now the isolation is very much necessary between transmitter and receiver, so that should be sufficiently large. So that's why, so if it is not large, then the interference happen between these transmitting and receiving antennas. So that interference signal again leaks to the leaks as a noise signal into the receiver. So that leakage we need to take care. So the mutual coupling between this transmitting and receiving antenna should be minimized. So whenever this mutual coupling, if it is gone increasing, so then the interference will happen. So because of that, it will be the beat frequency which we cannot able to detect properly. So now that beat frequency is amplified and limited to remove any amplitude fluctuations. So after this detecting that beat frequency, which will be amplified, and any noise is there, it will be going to remove. So and also the fluctuations. Okay, so now with respect to the Doppler, that reference frequency, this Doppler frequency we can get. So that if it is the FR minus FD, we can call it as upbeat frequency, and if it is FR plus FD, it is a downbeat frequency. Why? Because so if the FR plus FD is means the target is approaching to the receiver, so that is it is the range is going to degraded or down. So that is, so that we'll call it as down frequency, the downbeat frequency. And if it is going away from the receiver, it is the upbeat frequency. Okay. So now if the target is stationary, the assumption is not applicable. So only the Doppler frequency shift will be superimposed on the FM range beat note and an erroneous range measurement results. That means if the target is stationary, this will not happen, because that FD will not be there. It will be give constant frequency. So now if the frequency shift is happening, so then we can measure properly the Doppler frequency. So now we can see here what is the received signal and transmitted signal. With respect to transmitted signal, how much deviation which will occur here. So based on the deviation, whether it is moving away or it is uh, receding or it is approaching, based on that this beat frequency will be generated. So whether it is approaching or it is receding. So you can see here frequency time relationship in FMCW radar. So A is the solid line is the transmitted signal, and the echo signal which is dashed line. So this is the bit frequency with respect to the Doppler shift which is happening. So now if FB, this up and down whatever the beat frequency which are measured separately, so this by switching the frequency counter every half modulation cycle, one of the difference between frequencies will yield the Doppler frequency. So this, so continuously it is happening. So this, whether it is moving or receding, that frequency counter whatever we have, so that will be counted here. So and based on that the frequency counter it will going to so detect the Doppler frequency. Okay, so when more than one target is present within the view of the radar, so the mixer output will contain more than one frequency, that is one difference frequency, because the different targets which will be having the return signal which different frequencies. So that mixer output will produce many frequencies, and if the system is linear, so there will be a frequency component corresponding to each target. So more than one target means definitely there each target will be having return the echo signal. Based on that echo signal, this mixer will produce more frequencies. So now the range of each target may be determined by measuring the individual frequency components. Whatever the target which will be different target, it will going to uh, reflect the signal based on the each frequency component. Note here the point is the target should be resolved properly. The range between the targets, if it is sufficiently large, then we can able to extract this individual frequency component. Otherwise it is difficult to detect the more targets, so that if it is not properly resolved. So now to measure the individual frequencies, they must be separated from one another. So as I said, that is the resolution of these targets, which will be sufficiently enough to detect those. So this might be accomplished by narrowband filters. The bank of narrowband filters we can uh, take, and each individual frequency component, so we can able to get it. So even if you use the filter banks, but the received signal from the targets, so that will be before this getting the echo signal. So that targets must be the sufficiently, the resolution will be large, so then only we can able to detect. Even so, alternatively, a single frequency corresponding to a single target may be singled out and continuously observed with a narrowband tunable filter. So even for the single target, we can, even if we have a narrowband tunable filter that is tuned to the particular target, then we can able to achieve single frequency. Okay. So now if the FM modulated waveform were non-linear, or if the mixer were not operated in the linear region, as I said, even the components in the FM CW the radar, you have the diode, or if you have the mixer, that component, if they are not linear region, so then the problem of this resolving target, since we are assuming it as a, it is operating in the linear region, if it is goes to non-linear region, so then the problem of false detection will be increased, and also it will be more complicated to measure the range of the target. So now where we can use this FMCW radar, it is used for single targets only. So if it is the range and Doppler of the component, if we want to measure accurately, we can use the single target only. And even if we can use the proper target resolution, then we can use the multiple targets, such as in the radio altimeter, that is whatever the height of the uh, target which we can able to detect, so we can use this as FNCW. And it is not necessary to employ a linear modulation waveform, so we can use different modulation techniques like sine, triangular, whatever it is not necessary to have linear itself. Okay. And this is certainly advantageous, since a sinusoidal or almost sinusoidal frequency modulation is easier to obtain with the practical equipments compared to linear modulation. So generally, so we already know in the communication system we use the sinusoidal modulation. So now this FMCW radar principle was known to be used about the same time in the whatever pulse radar which is discovered. At the same time, this also FMCW which is discovered to know the altitude of the target. At that time only these two techniques will be, so that it will be discovered at the time of this world war, and these two are the discovered happened at the same time. So generally this will be applied to at that time, so to know the height of the ionosphere and also aircraft altimeter. So this is the some of the where they are using the FMCW. Okay, so now we'll stop here and we'll continue in the next class. So is there any doubt in this? No? Understood?